All right, let's talk about water. You've probably heard this a million times. It covers what, like 70% of our planet? So why are we constantly being told that it's scarce? It's a huge paradox, right? How can a world that's so incredibly blue be so, well, thirsty? That's what we're diving into today. I mean, just look at it. From space, Earth is this gorgeous blue marble. So how on earth is it possible that we're dealing with a water scarcity crisis down here? The answer, and this is the really interesting part, isn't about the total amount of water. It's all about its journey, where it comes from, where it goes, and what form it's in. Okay, so to understand this, we've got to start with the engine that powers everything, the water cycle. And here's the number one thing you need to get. It's a closed system. Think about that. The Earth isn't making any new water. Period. What we have right now is all we're ever going to have. Now, you probably remember these terms from like 5th grade science class, right? Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, runoff. It sounds super simple, but this constant, powerful cycle is literally what has kept life going on this planet for billions of years. It's just this incredible, endless journey for every single drop of water. This is such a great way to think about it. Our whole planet is basically a giant sealed-up terrarium. The total amount of water inside it never, ever changes. So get this, the water you're drinking today, yeah, that's the same water the dinosaurs drank millions of years ago. It's just been recycled perfectly over and over and over again. And check this out, it really puts it all into perspective. The water being used to irrigate a field in Haryana, in India, could have been flowing down the Amazon River 100 years ago. That's a pretty mind-bending thought, isn't it? It just goes to show how every single drop of water on this planet shares this incredible global history, connecting places and times you'd never think were linked. Okay, so if all this water is just stuck here in our giant terrarium, constantly getting recycled, then why are we talking about scarcity? This brings us right back to the heart of the paradox. Where is all this water and why can't we just, use it? And boom, here's your answer. This one chart pretty much says it all. A whopping 97.3% of all the water on Earth is salt water. Salty. Can't drink it. That leaves just a tiny, tiny fraction, 2.7%, as fresh water. And that little sliver has to provide for every single human, every animal, and every farm on the entire planet. So yeah, the big problem is salt, obviously. The average ocean has about 35 grams of salt for every liter of water. But to give you some real perspective, think about the Dead Sea. It has 340 grams. That's why you can just float on top of it without even trying. It's awesome for an Instagram picture for sure, but totally useless for drinking. So that 2.7%, I mean, it still sounds like a pretty big number when you're talking about the whole planet, right? But to really, really get how little fresh water is actually available to us, let's try a little thought experiment. Let's imagine that all the fresh water on Earth fits into just 12 spoons. Okay, you've got your 12 spoons of fresh water. Right off the bat, take 9 of them away. Poof, gone. Why? Because they're locked up as ice in glaciers and the polar ice caps. Yeah, it's fresh water, but it's totally inaccessible to us. So just like that, we're already down to only 3 spoons. All right, so we're holding on to our last 3 spoons. Now, take away 2 more. That water is all groundwater, trapped deep, deep underground. Sure, we can get some of it with wells, but most of it is just way too far down to ever reach. We're now left with just 1 single spoon. And here it is, the final, kind of shocking twist. That last spoon, that represents all the water in all the freshwater lakes in the world. But the water that's easiest for us to get to, the water in all the rivers of the world combined, amounts to just 1 single drop from that spoon. 1 drop from our original 12 spoons. That is the reality of our usable water supply. So while we humans are scrambling for that 1 tiny drop of fresh river water, what about the other 97%? The ocean. We might not be able to drink it, but its immense power and its constant restless movements shape our entire world in ways we probably don't even think about. The most obvious example, of course, is the tides. It's this rhythmic pulse driven by gravity. So when the sun, moon, and Earth are all lined up, the sun and moon kind of team up, and their combined gravity gives us these really high spring tides. But when they're pulling at right angles to each other, they're sort of fighting, and we get the much weaker neap tides. It's literally a cosmic tug of war happening every single day. But the ocean's movements can also be, well, terrifyingly destructive. Take the tsunami. The word is actually Japanese for harbor wave, and for good reason. It's because they cause so much devastation to harbors. They're one of the most powerful forces in all of nature, usually kicked off by a massive earthquake under the sea. What's truly terrifying about a tsunami is its speed. Out in the deep ocean, that wave can be traveling at over 700 kilometers an hour. To put that in perspective, that's as fast as a commercial jetliner. It's just this unimaginable wall of pure energy, moving almost silently right into the surface. This quote, it's just haunting. It's from the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. See, one of the deadliest warning signs is when the ocean suddenly pulls way back from the shore. It exposes the seafloor. But tragically, instead of realizing the danger and running to high ground, a lot of people started gathering at the coast to see what they thought was a miracle, completely unaware that a catastrophic wave was just moments away. It's just a brutal reminder that understanding how the ocean works can literally be a matter of life and death. So, when you put it all together, how incredibly rare our accessible fresh water is, and how unbelievably powerful the rest of the water on the planet is, it really highlights how critical our relationship with water is. It brings it all home. Every single drop really truly counts. This brings us right back to that one single precious drop of river water we were talking about. For millions and millions of people, the Ganga River is that drop. But look at this headline. Pollution and just plain overuse are threatening to kill this vital source of life. This isn't some problem for the future. It's a crisis that's happening right now, today. But it's not all bad news. There's a lot of hope in some really simple, smart solutions. Rainwater harvesting is a fantastic example. Instead of just letting all that precious rain wash away down the drain, we can capture it. When we do that, we can recharge the groundwater, we can stop soil from eroding, and we can even help prevent flooding. It's all about working with the natural water cycle instead of fighting against it. And that brings us right back to where we started. That drop of water in your tap, it's been on an incredible journey for centuries, maybe even from the Amazon right to your home. It has this ancient, amazing past. So the final question is a personal one. What are you going to do to protect its future for the next 100 years?